are you? It is Monday. May the 4th be with you. No more Star Wars jokes. My name is Nancy, and I am known as the Disorderly Stitcher here on Flosstube. I hope that you all are well. You can also find me over on Instagram as the Disorderly Stitcher, in my Facebook group, The Disorderly Stitcher, and my Etsy shop, The Disorderly Stitcher. I didn't make any notes, and I probably should have, so this is going to be all winging it. And probably because I just decided to do this, and I am still on Hobby House recovery mode. And I'll tell you more about that later. So, I hope that everybody is well, that you are getting your crafting done, whatever it may be, stitching, quilting, knitting, crocheting, punch needle, diamond painting, beadwork. What else is there? I have no idea. There's so many wonderful craft outlets out there. Whatever you do to make you happy, do it. Right? All right. So, the first thing I want to show you, if I can find it, because I just threw everything on my sewing table and now I can't find anything, which would be par for the course, right? There it is. Well, let's do a life update. All right, so I did say I went to Hobby House this past weekend, and it was wonderful. Prior to that, last week I celebrated number 64. Another trip around the sun has been completed. So, yeah. So you can sort of say that Hobby House was my birthday, anniversary, Mother's Day, Groundhog Day, whatever day, present. Probably for the rest of my life. Anyway, prior to that, the stomach bug decided to pay us a visit. My father-in-law was not feeling well. They lived 2 houses down. And then Eddie brought it, my grandson brought it into the house. And then my husband had it. My mother-in-law got it somewhere in there. And then about a week after my husband, I got it. And whatever train, truck, bus, airliner, whatever ran over me, it was bad. So I was sick all day. It was probably the week, I think it was the Monday before my birthday. So I was sick all day Monday. Tuesday, I still felt like the truck was sitting on me. So I didn't get a whole lot done. Anyway, that was done. That you don't need to know any more about that. The state testing period is over, so Eddie survived the PSSAs for 6th grade. At least I think he did. I don't put a whole lot of stock in PSSAs and other state testing because, you know, I trust the teachers to teach what they're supposed to teach. And if they're not teaching what they're supposed to teach, I'll question it, being a teacher that I am. I think we put too much emphasis on testing, but that's a whole nother video. I have been busy working on some bags. I am a little behind because of the stomach bug. And so those will be going in the shop hopefully by the end of the week. I will show you what I'm working on. I don't have anything completed because of everything. We went to West Virginia to see our daughter Abby, who is a student at WVU. She is working on her Master of Fine Arts. It is what is called a terminal degree. So after she gets her Master in Fine Arts, there is no doctoral program in fine arts theater, I guess. I don't know. So she wanted us to see one of her productions, and she is the technical director. She loves to build things. So that's what she does. And it was a fun show. It was Something's Rotten. It's like a parody. It's a musical about plays and musicals and poking fun at them. And it's centered around Shakespeare. Now, I don't know Shakespeare. I honestly do not like Shakespeare. I don't understand Shakespeare. I told my 10th grade English teacher that I really don't understand what he's saying, but if he spoke in English, I would probably understand him. And he's like, well, it is English. I said, not mine. So, yeah. And so we had a good trip to West Virginia. And other than that, it's been dealing with, weather roller coaster. It's supposed to be a little warmer today. Then it's supposed to get chilly again. So, it just, whatever, right? You just dress for it and go with the flow. So that's about it. That's the life update. My glasses are very dirty. I need to clean them. Excuse me as I pull my t-shirt out of my jeans and clean my glasses. So talk amongst yourselves. Here we go. Do, 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 do. All right, here we go. I can see you. Well, I can't see you, but you know what I mean. All right, so my book of days. April is completed. Oh no, my tulips are falling off. That's really bad. So there's my April book of days. There were a couple starts. There were a couple finishes. I'm going to say WIP Go was a success. And then May, I don't have any stickers in it because I spent the first couple days in May at Hobby House, and I don't have what my WIP Go choices are, but I know what they are, so yeah. But I started. I just haven't made it pretty. All right. And if you're wondering why my pages are loose, it's because I originally punched holes in it to put it in a binder, and then I decided I didn't like that. So next year, I think what I'm going to do is take it and some extra pages and my WIP list and all that happy stuff and take it to Staples and have them spiral bind it, because I do like that. All right. Here we go. Let me get this under my backside so I don't slide. All right. So what have I been working on? Well, my one WIP Go call for last month was monochromatic. And I pulled out Elizabeth Wendon 1864. I don't know if you can see through the glare. It's a GGR. It's a black sampler. It's about as monochromatic as you can get, right? And when I got that, I had this wild hair to do it on 56. Now at the time, the only piece of 56 I could find was just Zweigart, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with Zweigart. And I'm doing it with Swasserfine because it's on 56. That's what my friends, Kelly, Linda, suggested I do. So I did. And I will say that I have to let my eyes adjust. I also have to wear magnifiers, my magnifying glasses, and use my magnifying lamp, which is probably another reason why my eyes get sucked out. But if I don't, then I won't see it. Will I ever do a 56 count again? Probably, because I believe I have a piece of 56 count Fox and Rabbit. Because again, I got a wild hair that I wanted to try that. I was told Fox and Rabbit 56 is wonderful, so I don't know who told me that. That might have been Kelly too. So if it doesn't work, then Kelly's gonna, deal with it. Right? All right, so this is how far I've gotten. It's still in the hoop because I was working on it. My hope is, see, I'm hoping, I'm not saying my goal because you know me and goals. My hope would be to do like 2 or 3 threads a day and get it done. So what I got done here was, what did I get done? I want to say I got all the numbers done, and then I started on the lowercase. So if I do 2 or 3, where's the picture? If I do 2 or 3 threads a day, it shouldn't take long. Can you see them both together? So yes. And it was funny because I was like, okay, the lowercase alphabet only goes to W, and I was like, where's the rest of them? And then I realized they were down here. XYZ. Or as my sweet Canadian friends say it, Zed. I love that word, Zed. That is so cool. Zed. It's cool. And I just keep it in this, I think this is probably an Amazon bag that somebody gave me. I just keep Elizabeth in there. All right, what else have I been working on? I have been working on Worthy Paper. Oh, wait, this is Grace. Sorry. Never mind. This is Grace from the Artsy Housewife. This is going to be my focus piece for May. This was my birthday stitch last year, and I didn't get it done, so I want to get it done, right? Does that make sense? One of my WIP Go pulls for May is also something with brown in it, so this is also going to, you know, fulfill that requirement, I guess you want to say. So the last time I showed it to you, I had most of this square done, but the rose was still in process. I didn't have the star, and the bottom of this wasn't done. Of course, Grace wasn't done, and I think maybe this leaf, part of this leaf, was the only thing I had done on the side. Okay, now it is designed to use 3 different colors of linen. I'm a wimp, and I did not do that. I know Jenny from the Bougie Stitchers did, and it's beautiful, but I'm not that adventurous. So let's check my project card. I do have project cards in my shop if you are interested. There are 3 different designs here. I love vintage ads. So she's on one of them. There's a little boy flying a kite on one of them, and the third one has a mom and a daughter with a treadle sewing machine. But anyway, so I'm doing this on 36 count Beach Brew by R&R, and like I said, I started it on my birthday. I'm using the called for DMC, Classic Color Works, and Weeks Dye Works. So here we go. Here's the threads. They're a little bunchy. Now, one thing I might do, what is in here for German chocolate? So the one color is German Chocolate by Classic Color Works. And there is a DMC substitution, DMC 300. This is what you do the letters in for the word Grace. I might just use the DMC because you don't need to see variegation, if there is any variegation, in the letters. And that would save me some German chocolate because I like chocolate. So anyway, one of my dear friends made me these floss drops to go with it. I think that was Kara. Thank you, Kara. I love it. So before I left for Hobby House, put this in front of the bag so you can see it. This is how far I got. I finished the square. I finished the rows. Now, yes, there are some of my own creatively placed stitches in there. And then I started working on the flower. I'm a firm believer in giving ourselves grace. It took me a long time to get to that point in my life. You know, we're human beings. We make mistakes. We just have to learn from them and move on. And quit hitting ourselves over the head. All right. What else have I been working on? This is Worthy Patriot. Now, as I said, I got to meet Paulette Stewart at the retreat. She's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful lady. She's funny. Oh my gosh, she is funny. And I also found out she has an incredible love for history. So, of course, we were nerding out. And while we were talking, I'll show you the kit. Well, I'll save this story for the kit. Just remind me to do that. All right, so if you're working on Worthy Patriot, you know what it is. It's beautiful. I started up here in this corner. Just make sure you can count. Ask me how I know. It is done on 36 count coffee stain, which is what I got. Looking back, I probably should have gotten 40, but I'm good with it. 36 is good. It'll just be a little bit bigger. Now, the one thing that a friend of mine that I met at the retreat is, you know, it was not a starry moonlit night when Washington crossed the Delaware. It was snowing, but I know it was cloudy, so maybe that's just the moon covered up by the clouds. But anyway, I'm okay with it. So why did I say you need to count? Well, the first time I got down and I finished, I had done a little bit of the vine and the bird's wing, and I went down and I did this black line, and then I cut over and I did Patrick Henry and these two stars, and I had missed 10 stitches in this black border line. So needless to say, Patrick and these red stars were way too high. So Patrick got his wish for death and got torn out. And then I went back and redid him. So, and I keep him in the So Not Patriotic bag. But, you know, I grabbed what I had. If you have never used Cedar River linen, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Coffee stain is a beautiful color. Beautiful. Did I say it's beautiful? Well, it is. So that's how far I am. I love it. So Patrick has been resurrected. He said, "Give me liberty or give me death," in the Virginia House of Burgesses in 1775. So there we go. And yes, there are some mistakes in the letters. This M is a stitch too narrow, and this E is a stitch too wide. And you know what? I really don't care. I'm not ripping out over one. Oh, yes, and Paulette gave me the seal of approval. No, don't rip that out. That's ridiculous. So there we go. Now, there's supposed to be 50 of these white stars on this. So I'm going like, okay, I have Delaware and Pennsylvania, and whatever number 3 is, I don't remember. Sorry. So if you're in the 3rd state to sign the Constitution, that's you. Now, if you are doing Worthy Patriot, I scanned mine and I loaded it into Markup RXP. If you are doing Worthy Patriot, you want to be aware of the fact that there are 2 pages of instructions as to, you know, what to stitch July 4th in, and long stitch the berries in the top vines, and long stitch the dove bills, blah, 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 blah. Even though I've scanned this, I keep the paper chart right next to me with those instruction pages open. So just, you know, a word of caution. I am using most of the called for colors. Okay, now I did a conversion because I didn't have some of them, and I went through this last time. For example, I did not have I didn't have Erin Go Emerald by Classic Colorworks. I did not have the corresponding DMC 500, so I pulled out Juniper from Color and Cotton. I can show you this. Excuse the paper rattling. And if you want to take a screenshot of it, you can. If you can read my writing, I don't know if you can. That 3024 up here is not set in stone. I don't know if it's an exact match. I could probably find 644 in another project bag. And like for tin roof, I didn't have an extra tin roof, so I'm using the 648. And I didn't have an extra gingerbread laying around, so I'm using whatever that is, 739. Is that 739? Yes. However, I did... Where is it? I did pull out a couple of Color and Cotton just to play with in case I want some variation. So there we go. DMC 3778, I pulled Candied Yams and Bombay. And then Cherry Bark I didn't have, so I pulled Cherry Wood. It's probably darker, but I like it. And then I also pulled, I had one skein of Grit, so I also pulled, excuse me, Cottage from Color and Cotton. I love these. Very early 20th century. World War I era. All right, so that's my Worthy Patriot. We are doing a start along, stitch along, do it along, put it in timeout along, whatever you want to do. And I'll put the hashtag here. There's also a Facebook group, and I'll put the name of that here as well. And just if you want to join the Facebook group, please do. I mean, there's no assignments, there's no pressure. We're not trying to get it done by the 4th of July because that's never going to happen in this house. So there you go. All right, we'd love to have you. And the last one I worked on, because, whoops, I got to remember to put that back in that bag. The last thing I worked on was actually a hobby house start. I put it in my animal cracker bag because I was going to start Maggie May, and then I didn't. I started this because I wanted to. When I went to Hobby House twice. My friend Julie will not be happy with my lack of willpower. But anyway, I saw this sweet little sampler right as I walked in the door. Sabina Young, 1854. And of course, after I got back and I started reading about it, this is a Pennsylvania sampler from Northampton County. So I thought, well, it was meant to be. And it calls for 3 colors, and it's charted with Soie d'Alger, but there's also a DMC equivalent, suggested equivalent, but I just walked over to the 103s. Sorry, I'm trying to get them out. And pulled 3 colors that I thought looked similar to what was in the picture. Can you see them? Let me turn on this light. Hold, please. Here we go. So this is a sweet Hobby House Press sampler. And it's only it's only 90 by 80. And the model fabric is Cedar River Coffee Stain. That must be a very, very, very popular one right now. I'm not doing it on Coffee Stain, but I am doing it on a piece that I bought when I was at Hobby House. So if you do it on 40 count, it is supposed to be 4.5 by 4. I'm not. If you want to know these colors, let me see if I can turn the spools so you can see them. Oh, this is like, you know, this is difficult today. Can you see the numbers? Yes, you can see the numbers. Get my fat thumb out of the way. There we go. All right, so Sabina, where'd she go? Oh, here she is. Sabina is being worked over 46. There was a piece of Cedar River maple bar sitting on the shelf, and I had heard people rave about maple bar, so I thought, well, I wanted to join the rave. That's as wide as she's going to get. So I got that done while I was at the retreat. And I love it. So I was able to see it between my, I actually was able to see it with my regular glasses and my little magnifying daylight. So Sabina's going to go in the bag with her threads, and then she's going to get her own bag because, you know, she deserves that, right? Okay. Let's talk about the finishes. I did get 2 finishes finished. That made a lot of sense, didn't it? My hair is starting to get to the point where I need to put it behind my ears. All right, so my one focus, what am I going to put behind this? I don't know. I guess I'll put my book of days. My one focus that the focus that I pulled out last month was one of my oldest WIPS. That's not going to work because it's not wide enough. One of my oldest WIPS. I got it when I went to Virginia in, I think it was 21 or 22. It was probably 21. And we stopped at, I think it's Country Station or Cross Stitch Station in Waynesboro, Virginia. And I saw it on the wall and went, ugh. So this was my first Scarlet House. And I'm glad I didn't push through it because there's over 1 in it. And at the time, I had no idea what over 1 meant. But I finished it. And I am so happy. And it's not ironed because I don't want to iron it until I have to. Now, there is a mistake somewhere in the border because it's me. So I had come across the bottom, all right, and I started up. What did I do? Or I don't remember what I did, but anyway, it wasn't going to work. Something was off here. It was going to like be a stitch to, yeah, you know what I mean. So I had to tear out the vine all the way back down to about here. So then I came back and I started down and I adjusted here. So, because, you know, I went through that whole border to look for it and I couldn't find it. And I was like, yeah, well, that's what we're going to do. So anyway, I'm pleased with it. So one of my oldest WIPs is now off the list. Yay! Did you clap? I hope so. I didn't hear you, but that's okay. My other finish, what was I doing? Something was up. Oh, I know what it was. The internet people were working on the internet one Friday. And so, you know, I couldn't internet and anyway, my brain is like, so I pulled out a copy of one of the Thread Milk Designs state charts. Put a picture here. And I decided to pull out Kentucky. I lived in Kentucky. My family's from Kentucky. They're from Louisville. And because I lived in Kentucky, all the states I lived in, I'm doing the abbreviation in gold. And the nice thing about Kentucky is it's all red. So Kentucky will be finished as a pillow. So Kentucky was the 15th state in 1792. And there's my old Kentucky home, Stephen Foster. What red I used, I have no idea. You can find it on my WIPS spreadsheet, which is linked down below. It's a Google spreadsheet. So there you go. So those two are finished. So I want to finish, I want to get Kentucky finished to add to the collective. And there we go. So those are my finishes. How about that? I also, if you saw it, finished some table gift bags. If you saw the picture at the beginning, if I got all this figured out. But they look like this if I didn't. I took some of my Lori Holt scraps and put them together. Now this has a bunch of my stuff in it, so put my tag on it. This was my prototype. I used zipper tabs. I did not put zipper tabs on the ones that I gave to my table mates, but... And then inside I put a pair of scissors and a mascara brush thing and a nail file and a skein of 310 and a floss bling that was one of the Peanuts, Charlie Brown, all that. And I think that was it. I think. But anyway. So, do I have... Yes. So before I put this away, I do have a couple gifts that I received in here that I will show you. In fact, maybe I'll do that now. So, someone laid this sticker down. I have no idea who did, so thank you very much. I received this needle minder, cross-stitching each day keeps the crazies away. from Sweet Autumn Stitch. Thank you so much. And then Beth Twist's husband made each of us this beautiful wooden needle minder with some abalone inlay. He is quite the craftsman. And this goes with the kit, and you'll figure out why. So those are in my bag, along with my suck out my eyes things. All right, so here we go. Are you ready? Gird your loins. Here we go. So this was a little bag we received from Hobby House, I'm guessing. I'm not sure because they have the Hobby House. They were just laying on the table and we were supposed to pick one up. So there's this tiny little bling thing that you can cross stitch something on and put in there. So I might just do a really small, like HH and then the year. And then a waxer. I love the smell. And a little pair of scissors. And a couple needles and one of those fancy thread grabber things. Is that what they are? I don't know. And then my friend Sue, whom I roomed with, I met for the first time. I met her through Discord. If you're interested in joining the Discord, QR code over on Goose's videos. So make sure you go over and check that out. But anyway, she also included one of the a little bit larger fob possibility, and then some beaded accoutrement. So thank you, Sue. I knew that Brandy from B&E Stitchery was going to be there, and she gave me one of their project cards. I think that's so cute. But I was not aware that Denise of Because We Stitch was going to be there. And I looked across the room and I'm like, you know how you do? So I texted her and I said, are you at Hobby House? Well, before she could answer me, I was like, yep, that's her. So I went over and we hugged up each other. And so she gave me one of her little project cards that you put on your floss ring. So thank you very much. All right. I'm going to try and make this quick. Quick. And I mean quick, because otherwise we'll be sitting here forever. Sue didn't want her waxer, so I picked it up off the table. I know, just keep the volume down. I'm sorry. I didn't take it out of the bag. I should have, but you know, I'm a bad person. I am a bad person. Hang on. Sorry. I honestly don't remember, and I apologize. But I was given a thread keep. We could choose Jane was issue, and it also had an Ort thing with the snaps that you snap together. So that is somewhere around here in all this stuff because I was using it. And then we was one of the gals had these. This might have been Jane, I'm not sure. And it has yummies in there. There's candy and a pair of scissors and a nail file and a lip balm. Oh, and a beautiful little pineapple. The symbol of friendship, right? And I've also received this bag. This one has the candy in it, I think. Yes. This one has the candy and this beautiful Stitcher scissor fob and a chart that you use on those. Chocolate, yay! Just what I don't need, but I'll eat it anyway. And then there was a lady walking around. She made 100 and almost 200 of these bags. And she just put some on the table and said, pick what you want. And I know it's not red, but I love it. So I picked this one. And then somebody, excuse me, while I reach, because it's way over here. Somebody laid this bag on the table, and I don't know who it was, so thank you very much. From Leslie Magny. Thank you, Leslie. And it has some buttons and this pretty floss bling. And I love this. Some trim colors that I do not have. How about that? So thank you so much. In fact, they are going to go... Where's all my other trim? I'll lay these there so that I can use them. All right. This is where you need to gird your loins, people. So like I said, I went to the shop. Well, let's do the kits first, shall we? Do, 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 do. All right. So these ladies are incredible. They are talented. They are sweet. They are kind. They are very generous. They are very great. They are also very grateful to all of us who keep buying their designs and encouraging them. So this is Stacy's. You can see I couldn't get it back in the bag. So I put a picture of the finished design at the beginning. So it is a, now I'm not going to be able to get this back in here. This is a Quaker sewing book. And it was inspired by a antique sampler that she had. And then this is what it'll look like on the inside. Now, this is called a scissor rest. I don't know what it's stuffed with. But anyway. So that's the goal, is to make that. She gave us a piece of linen. I don't remember what it is because apparently she didn't receive the correct linen and this was like shipped toot sweet. So we would have it before we left. Here's the fabric. It's a beautiful homespun. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Love it. And the ribbon. And she gave us a, this is a thread winder. I might put a big magnet on it and make a honking huge needle minder so that, you know, because I don't wind my thread with these things. I do huff the wood though, because I do love the smell of the wood. And these are they're all a mess because I keep shoving them back in the bag, but here's the colors. Whoops. Tatanka is having a problem. There it is. So we have Tatanka. I love that name. It's the buffalo. If you watch Dances with Wolves. I wonder... No. Oh, and then I guess we got cattail and it should be something else. I'm not sure. There's Dirt Road. Caper. Wonder if I can rip something out of here and... No. Oscar! Yay. Deep Sea. Anyway, so Isn't that beautiful? So that was from Stacy. I will just lay this on the bag and fight with it later. All right, Beth was very inspired by the flowers. We received a piece of Cedar River maple bar. Ah, yay, isn't that great? This is 36 count. Or this is an 1/8. This is an 1/8, yes. And the finishing fabric and the lace and a button and the ribbon for the button to go over, you know, do the loop. And the threads, which are on the back. And what it is an envelope. And I put a picture in the beginning so you could see. It looks like, I don't know if I have, does she have the finished, she might have the finished picture on the back of the pattern. Yes, so if you, that's the back of it. So, of course, when you open it up, the words are upside down. But you could also do this as like one piece and not make the envelope. But there we go. I must have flowers. And she's a beekeeper, so there's always bees. Buzz. I was not aware that she's from the West Coast. So I hope she's getting some sleep after the time change. Or I don't even know if she went home because she's in Williamsburg next weekend at Liberty Hill. All right, so the last one. You guys know that I am drawn to the historical, and I am drawn to the big ass projects and the samplers and the big ass houses and all that. And so I was waiting for a big ass house. Didn't happen. There's a tiny house on this one, but it's beautiful. So here we go. This is from Paulette from Plum Street. We were told that Plum Street, the name Plum Street, came from the street that her grandmother lived on, which I thought was pretty cool. So we received some floss bling. And of course we received the threads. So there's a combination of Weeks and Classic Colorworks. Did we get Tin Roof? No. So there's that. And some DMC. Ooh, 644 in there? Of course not. And a piece of maple bar. Isn't that incredible? This is a 36 count. It's 20 by 14. So this was cut specifically for this chart. Are you ready? She actually gave us a picture of it. Isn't that pretty? It's very much inspired by Pennsylvania German Frochter. These are tulips that the tulip shape that would appear in many Pennsylvania German Frochtors. And we were talking, and the design is to correspond with a soldier coming home from the Revolution in 1783. She could have chosen, she said she had to make a choice between 1781 when the war ended and 1783 when the Treaty of Paris was signed. So she chose 1783. Anyway, you can see the tiny little house. Big tulip, tiny little house. So we were talking and I said, have you ever thought of incorporating hex signs? And I'll put a picture of one here. And she was not aware of what hex signs are. So I showed her and she's like, oh. And then I said, have you ever heard of the Star Barn? She's like, the Star Barn. So I'll put a picture here. The Star Barn and its outbuildings were located along 283 between Harrisburg, I-283 between Harrisburg and Lancaster, and they moved it to help preserve it, and they did some refurbishing. So she's like, oh, so you never know. You never ever know what's going to show up from Paulette Stewart. So anyway, it's so pretty. I fought very hard not to start any of them at the retreat. And you're like, why, Nancy? Well, I want to start them when my mind is on them. Of course, what did I do? I started a sampler on 46 count because that's what I do. So that was what we received from the designers, and it was incredible. Incredible. So I do have my shopping haul. Like I said, I went there on Thursday when I got there, and I probably should not have done that because A, I was tired, and B, I was probably dehydrated and I didn't feel well. And Gina from the shop, she was so very sweet. She could see me doing this, and she's like, would you please sit down? I'll get you some water. So I did. I was a good girl. And yeah. All right. So this is another table gift I received. She did a sweet little mat with some stickers, and it was tied up with this piece of baker's twine, and she put a little notebook in there, which, you know, I'm always looking for and can never find. So that was from Maureen. Here's the Ort thingy that goes with the and then you snap. So that's that. Put that over there. This is the gift we received from Hobby House. It is a Stitcher's mat. They were all done. There was different colors, different patterns, different combinations of fabrics. Of course, I chose red. There's an Ort container that has a snap on the bottom that you snap onto here. So that was beautiful. Thank you so much, Hobby House. The gal that made this was selling these. So I thought, well, you know, let's support each other. And it's a little, tiny little project bag for a tiny little project. So I thought that was pretty. And I know my friend Ann's going, flamingos. So that's that. All right. Here we go. So Thursday while I was there, I bought two charts. I bought the sampler, Sabina Young, and I bought We Live in Hope. History nerd. All right, so there we have, you know, Chesapeake Bay, and we have the ship, and the whole 9 yards. Okay. And apparently there's another one in there. I guessed that this is another one. Be just and fear not. So, of course, in true, well, no, this is great. This one, the color never changes in this vine. So that should be relatively quick. So I bought that, and I bought Sabina. Then I went into the linen room. This is where you must gird your loins, people. Yes. So I picked up that piece of maple bar that I found, and I started Sabina on it. And I looked at the other fabrics. So I purchased, I believe this is a 1/2 yard, because, you know, go big or go home, right? I may never get back to Hobby House. I have no idea. So this is Cedar River Scrimshaw. Has like a pink cast to it. I don't know if you can see it. But, you know, it was like, I could feel it, I could touch it, I could look at it, I could see the color. You know, my closest LNS is an hour and a half away. And so I don't get to see and touch and feel. I'm going to keep it in there for now. I also purchased a piece of Tabby Cat Scarborough Fair. These are 40 count. I thought, you know, I'll get a piece of Tabby Cat while I'm here. It's sort of a gray, very, 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 very light gray. 40 count. I hope my eyes will not go wacko. I purchased a piece of Cedar River 40 count Spindrift, which is like a very, 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 very light off-white. It's not like an eggshell. I wouldn't say it's an eggshell. It's more like a milk color, I think. Or a scrimshaw color. But it's not scrimshaw. It's Spindrift. But it's beautiful. So that's a half yard. And then the sweet, one of the sweet fabric ladies was processing an order of needle and flax that they got in. And we all know how difficult it is to find needle and flax because, you know, Rachel is very much in demand for models, and she's a one-woman show. So, you know, she does the best she can, and I appreciate that. I truly do. But she was sitting there processing different colors, and I said, by chance, is that Shiloh? And she said, yes. And she said, 40 count. And I said, okay. I'm petting it, can you tell? And so she handed me, and the sweet lady that was cutting said, what do you want this cut into? And I said, nothing. So I bought a yard. It's a beautiful golden color. It does have some brown modeling in it. Brown, red, I'm not sure. I'm guessing, I'm going to say it has a red cast to it because Shiloh is a battle in the Civil War, and who knows, maybe that's to represent the blood in the battle. I don't know. But it's beautiful. So I splurged on that. So that was Thursday. And I was like, I am not going to go back. I am not going to go back. I am not going to go back. I was being good. I'm not going to go back. And then a sweet lady, Sherry from Share Bear Stitches, I'll put her floss tube below. We were talking, and she showed me Gloriana Silks from Gloriana Silks. Luminescence Silks from Gloriana. And she was telling me that was it at Stitch West or somewhere, she was sitting with the gals from Gloriana, and they were explaining to her the dyeing process. And she had almost all the colors of the rainbow. And I kept thinking, oh, I don't need them. I don't need them. I don't need them. I don't need to go back. I don't need them. And finally on Saturday, I said, I'm going back. And my friend Sue said, okay, I'll go. And she drove, and I was bad again. Yes. So these are the silks I bought. I cleaned out their supply of Dutch red because we know I love red. And I wanted them all from the same dye lot. And it's a beautiful rusty red. I'm going to guess it reminds me of 221. And so it's going to be a red sampler one of these days. But they're 20-yard skeins. And so, yeah, I mean, I've got plenty. But they're beautiful. And they're so soft. And yes, Linda, I'm petting them. I love you, Linda. So yes. Then I saw my friend Sue had finished from last year's retreat. She finished Henry to Lucy, which was by Paulette, and Lucy to Henry, which was Beth Twist from Heartstring Samplery. Now you can do them in separate pillows, or you can do them as one long piece. Sue did it in one long piece. So that's what I chose to do. And, you know, if you're going to do it, you're going to use the called for fabric. So I bought a piece of 36 count Southern Pecan by Dames of the Needle. And they cut it for you. I was like, well, I'll just take the half yard of 40 count. And she's like, oh, no. We have a piece over here. I'll cut you a piece off. So I got those because I can. And I wasn't going to buy any charts. I was going to be good. But, you know, when you see them and they're beautiful and they call you and you want them. So I had seen Hannah Whitaker for market and I didn't buy it. And my friend Becky bought it. And then I saw a few people with it. And, you know, I was like, yeah, I want it. So I bought it. And it's charted in... What's it charted in? Trying to find the list is like crazy. Cray. It's charted with 100 threes, or you could use Gloriana, or you could use DMC. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I have no idea. So Hannah's on the list of big ass samplers to do. I bought, this one has been calling to me for a long time, and it was there, and I bought it. Summer at Cherry Hill, and of course, you know why it was calling to me for some time. It's red. So I bought that. And I bought Stars and Stripes. Look at those pomegranates. Are those pomegranates? I guess they're pomegranates. Yes. They're pomegranates. Looks like they're done with there's a Valdani in there. I'll probably have to make a substitution because I don't have any Valdani. And I also bought, I think this is a market, but I bought One Flag, One Land. And this is a Chantel piece, I do believe. But yes, this is a Chantel piece, so I will most likely purchase it. So about that. And then I said, do you happen to have any Mason linen? And the very sweet fabric lady that was cutting said, yes, there's a few pieces back here. And so I was able to get a piece of, I think this is a fat quarter, of medium dark antique button 40 count. So, yes, I was bad. I was bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But, you know, it's good to be bad, right? I do have some other haul of things that I bought, but I'm going to hold that till the next time because you're probably on haul overload right now. So yeah, that's where we are. I was going to tell you something. What was I going to tell you? I have no idea. I should really start writing things down when I say them. But that would be too orderly. Yes. All right, so I did mention the bags I'm making. They're going to be this fabric. Some of them will have blue zippers. Some of them will have red zippers. I was also considering, but I don't know if I'm going to do it. Tell me what you think. So this dark gray will go with the leggings, the boots, and the cannonballs and all that. So I don't know. Maybe I'll stick with red and blue. So that's going to be my task this week, is to get those done. All right. That's it. I do believe. I think. And I'm at 1 hour and 5 minutes. And I'm sure y'all have some other people you want to watch. So, the last video I did, I decided to UFO and pass along my 12 Days of Christmas that I had started on this Ada. And as I said, the threads I am not including the pattern, and I am not including the beads. So these are all done in DMC. So like number 1 is finished, stitch is stitched, and number 2 is stitched, and number 3 is in here somewhere, but it's not completed. And the beads are not on these. Okay. So where is number 3? Better be in here. I'll have to find it. Hopefully I didn't lose it. All right. So I asked you to use the word holiday. And the receiver of the share is Jennifer Dunstan 4794. And I'll also put the name down here. So Jennifer, please do me a favor and email me using the address down below, disorderlystitcher@gmail.com. And I will get this out to you as soon as possible. I appreciate the receivers from the last shares, their patience, because once everybody had the stomach system, that just completely went out of my mind. So I hope you all received your shares. All right. So Jennifer, please email me, and I will give me your full address. Remember, you have to be over 18. I guess there's no way I can prove that. So yeah. All right, so I do believe that's it. I'm looking around to see if there's anything else in here that I want to show you. Please remember, if you're interested in project cards, they are listed in my Etsy shop. I still have a few of the patchwork spring flowery ones from my last upload, if you're interested. And yeah, I also had somebody say they would like to see a scrappy patchwork bag. So those are going to be coming out down the road, because I need to get rid of some of these scraps. And why not share the wealth, right? Right. All right. So that's it. 1 hour and 9 minutes. So I hope you all are well. Please, please, please enjoy what you're stitching. Stitch what you love. Love what you stitch. Be kind. Give yourself grace. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.